moving on now. Wednesdays here on the program, we like to put the spotlight on the farm women's group Common Ground.
Common Ground is a group of farm women who want to be a resource for consumers who want to know more about how their food is grown. So in this segment, we hear from a volunteer on the topic of livestock and greenhouse gas emissions.
Well, hi, everybody. We are going to take a moment now to talk about a conversation that's been going on about the role that cattle play when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions and what kind of a role livestock plays in that. Joining me now with more is Diane Karr, and she is with Common Ground. Diane, you've been doing your homework, I guess we could say, on some of the science behind this conversation about cattle and methane. Maybe tell us a little bit more about what you're discovering.
I think it's really exciting to look at the science when we talk about climate issues and see agriculture's role in that, and specifically with livestock. I think sometimes we've been led to believe that agriculture and livestock are responsible for a large portion of greenhouse gas emissions. But when we look at the statistics from the EPA, all of agriculture comes in at 9 to 10%, and animal agriculture comes in at 3.9. So it's not zero. It's something we still need to talk about. But I think sometimes it's surprising that it's really a smaller part of greenhouse gas emissions compared to, say, transportation and industry and electricity. And those add up to about 78%.
Cattle, actually, the methane they produce actually is more of a healthy natural cycle. Maybe tell us more about that.
So I think it's really positive to talk about the biogenic carbon cycle. When you think of the cattle and they're eating feed, when they digest the carbohydrates from the feed, they do emit methane. That methane takes about 10 years to break down in the atmosphere, and it does break down into carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, through photosynthesis, the plants are able to take in that carbon dioxide, release oxygen, and then that goes back through the cycle again, and the cattle will eat the feed. So agriculture is able to recycle that carbon, and in a sense, we can talk about climate neutrality and how, that carbon goes through that cycle instead of building up in the atmosphere.
Okay, Diane. Well, it's very good to hear from someone who's involved in the livestock industry in agriculture about the role that cattle do play in the environment and when it comes to methane and greenhouse emissions. And you're coming up later with a recipe to share as well.
Right. I have a recipe for homemade popsicles. It's really easy and it's a lot of fun to make with the kids too.